Hey everyone, this is Libertarian Black Man. We have a jobs crisis in America today, but it is not the same as what we had 9 years ago. Back then, we had too many workers and too few jobs. Today, we have too many jobs and too few workers. Specifically, we have 7 million open jobs and 6 million Americans who are unemployed. What that means is that if every unemployed person were to be employed, we would still need 1 million more people to fill the jobs that are available. That means that millions of Americans will sit on the sidelines while businesses demand millions of them to come into their industries and help produce the goods and services that they want to sell. This is a drag on economic productivity and it fuels higher prices. So, for example, in shipping, we have seen the price of shipping go straight up for the past 8 years straight. In fact, this is the Cass Truckload Line Haul Index, which measures changes in the per mile truckload line haul rates. Since the recession ended in 2009, we've seen shipping costs simply go up. In 2016-2017, we did have a period where shipping costs dropped, but they have rebounded and soared to new highs ever since. So what this means is we need more truck drivers in the future, a whole lot of them. In fact, 897,500 new drivers are going to be needed over the coming decade, which comes out to 89,750 drivers per year on average. We don't just need more truck drivers, we also need more auto mechanics because the cost of auto mechanic work is being kept high. Anytime you need repair work done in your car, you're paying most likely hundreds of dollars per incident. And that is because we just don't have enough mechanics out there to fix people's cars. So we have plenty of open jobs in this industry, not just there, also in the medical industry. We need more physicians in the primary and specialty healthcare sectors. We need more computer programmers, more software engineers because of the expansion of the technology industry. And the expansion of the technology industry also requires people to protect networks, protect computers from threats. So cybersecurity professionals are needed and we simply don't have enough of them. It has become an industry crisis. So why are we not filling so many open jobs in America today? One reason for this is that government regulation in the form of licensing and rules in transportation are also holding people back. In fact, there are so many regulations that we can't list them all here, but here are a few of them. The federal government regulates how many hours a truck driver can be behind the wheel during his shift. So they changed the rules back in 2014 to restrict the number of hours that a truck driver can be on the road. That's one regulation. Another regulation is that you can't be younger than 21 years old if you're a truck driver crossing state lines. So if you're 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, you graduated high school, you want to be a truck driver, you cannot be given a job where you're crossing state lines, because that is illegal under federal law. So we are excluding people under 21 in the truck driving industry if their job requires them to go across state lines. And in fact, trucking and shipping is crossing state lines more now than ever before. Another reason for the surplus of jobs that are open is that there is little incentive for certain people who are unemployed to take employment if in fact they're getting a certain level of government assistance. And with many jobs that have been created, many of them are low paying. So for example, we have a lot of low wage work that makes up the 7 million open jobs that we have. For example, according to a study by CareerBuilder, last year in 2017, personal care aides and home health aides ranked number 1 and number 2 in the fastest growing sectors in our economy, both of them growing at 16%. But these are low paying jobs. We're talking $10, $11, $12 an hour. And if you are receiving welfare benefits or benefits coming from other government programs that are paying you or giving you the equivalent of greater than $12 an hour, makes it difficult to drop the welfare benefits or other government benefits you're getting for that job. In many states, you can take on enough government benefits to bring in more than $15 an hour on a full-time job. So think about it. If you're making $15 an hour full-time with welfare or with unemployment insurance, Social Security, WIC, or any other program, and some of these are state-level programs, some of them are not federal, then you're most likely going to turn down a job that's saying we're going to pay you $10, $11, $12 an hour, or if it's part-time work and it doesn't pay you enough per hour to equal your federal benefits or state benefits, you're most likely going to turn that job down because it's an economic decision. Why would I go out and work for less money than I can get when I'm not working? It is a dilemma confronting many Americans, and it is showing itself in the lack of jobs that are being filled. Another reason why we are not filling open jobs that we have by the millions is because our K through 12 schools are not teaching students the certain skills that they need to fill these jobs. A perfect example of this is in the auto mechanics sector. In fact, we do have a shortage of auto mechanics, but the question is, why are we not teaching our students at the high school level this type of work? Why do they have to graduate and then go to college in order to learn this type of work? Our K through 12 system is completely controlled by government, as I have said in a previous video. And when the government controls something, the ability for it to change has been reduced because the government doesn't operate according to market principles. It operates according to politics and bureaucracy, and it is an organization with numerous checks and balances in our democratic republic to prevent the abuse of power. But this slows down the ability of government to actually change things. So our schools are not teaching auto mechanic work at the K through 12 level the way that they should. And changing this is very difficult if it's going to be controlled by government. In fact, what we should do is privatize the schools so that the marketplace can control what is being taught, how it's being taught, and who is able to qualify and learn the skills that they need for these jobs. Now, we did this many generations ago. One example is with Kettering University. Kettering University became Kettering in the 1990s, but it was founded in the 1910s as the School of Automobile Trades. This became the Flint Institute of Technology, which was then purchased by a private corporation that we all know of as General Motors. They purchased the school in 1926 and turned it into the General Motors Institute. This was a school that General Motors used to create more people who were able to work for the corporation or in the auto mechanics sector. It's an example of the private sector taking a school under its control and using it to create the kind of workers that are needed in the marketplace. We should be doing this with every school in America. Every school in America should be sold to private interests who can actually take the curriculum, redo it so that people are learning the skills that allow them to take jobs that are available in the economy. And unfortunately, we don't have that because we want the government to make sure everybody gets an education instead of allowing the market to take education, make it more efficient, make it cost less, make the education more valuable. We just need to let go of this idea that the government has to take care of education. Let the private sector take care of education, as was much more likely to take place years ago. And you will see more and more people gaining the skills, not in college, but in high school, so that when they turn 18, when they become adults, they're actually able to run right into these jobs instead of have to spend another 4, 5, 6 years at college learning skills that they should have learned 4, 5, 6 years earlier. Another reason for the surplus of open jobs is a lack of immigration. The idea that we have too many immigrants is ridiculous. In fact, we are not importing enough people into our country to take the jobs that are open. One example of this is in the medical sector. America needs to import more doctors because, well, the cost of healthcare is going up so fast that people have to purchase insurance to pay for it, and then the insurance goes up and becomes unaffordable. So we just don't have enough medical professionals. As we've seen in a previous story, we need more physicians in specialty and general practice care. And unfortunately, the government also controls this, because in that same story, it reads that the federal government caps the number of slots available for federal funding, a policy that artificially suppresses the supply of residencies when America needs to be training more doctors. So what that really means is that the federal government, through Medicare and Obamacare and Social Security and Medicaid and many other federal programs, and you have state level programs also in this, but the federal government is financing medical schools, they're financing training in the medical sector, and because they finance it, they control it. They can say, oh, we're not going to have more than a certain number of medical residents. And one example is the Balanced Budget Act of 1997, which limited the number of medical residents that could be allowed because Medicare is involved. The money from federal programs is involved, and they can restrict how many medical residents there are. This should be controlled by the marketplace. There should be no federal funding whatsoever in the medical sector. And that way, the number of medical residents can be controlled by the schools directly. It can be controlled by outside funders who are in the private sector. And there will be, it'll be totally based on supply and demand instead of politics and trying to balance the federal budget. So the government is once again getting in the way, stopping people from being able to take open jobs, limiting the number of people who can come into this country through a very clogged immigration system with quotas and with restrictions of all kinds on the number of doctors we can import into the country. In fact, this comes from PBS and it says it perfectly. If our trade deals were actually about free trade, we would have been working to reduce or eliminate the barriers that make it difficult for doctors and other foreign trained professionals from practicing in the United States. We have doctors coming out of India, coming out of China, coming out of places all over the world that would love to come and practice here, but they can't because we don't have free trade when it comes to immigration. We just have free trade, and we really don't have free trade in America, but we like to make trade easier when it comes to goods and when it comes to a TV or clothes or the types of products we put on our shelves in our homes and the grocery store. But we don't want to have free trade when it comes to people. We don't want to loosen up immigration to make it easier for people to come here. So once again, we jack up medical costs. We jack up the cost of so many services, medical, mechanic work in the auto sector and truck driving. We've got people all over the world who would like to come in all these industries. But our immigration system is a total disgrace, and it's the reason why, one reason, we are not able to get the workers we need. By not doing that, we are artificially suppressing economic growth because we are inefficiently allocating human resources. And the government is responsible for, you could say, easily 90 to 99% of all this. So if we want to fill these jobs, get the government out of the way, get licensing out of the way, make it easier for people to come to this country, make it easier for people to finance the production of goods and services, let the private sector take over education, and you're going to see these jobs be filled, and not only that, but more people coming into this country to help fill these jobs. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you in the next video.